Tonight we get to hear from the minority on this latest development. Plus, processes to elect district chief executive gets underway as bill is laid to amend the 1992 constitution.
As a result of the outcry all over the world and here in Ghana by civil society organizations and other well-meaning citizens, that we try to put in our law an amendment that will allow for us to elect district chief executives to make them accountable directly to the people.
Also, second day of third leg of militia disbandment talks yet to produce communique as parties involved disagree on modalities, with the opposition NDC cautioning against rushing the process. We're live at Pidiase as the Peace Council addresses the press. Residents of Lower Manya Krobo sign undertaking to pay 84 million Ghana cedi bill owed power distribution services, despite Energy Minister's claims the billing system may be faulty.
The bills were fluctuating. You could get a bill for this month at 50 cedis, and then the next month you are getting 120 cedis.
We'll get to hear from some residents struggling to come to terms with the fluctuation in bills.
And in business, transactions on money interoperability hits 95 million Ghana cedis for the first quarter of this year.
Later in sports, general captain of the Black Stars, Asamoah and head coach Kwesi Appiah hold talks after recent tensions related to the team's captaincy.
And as Ghana joins the rest of the world to mark Menstrual Hygiene Day, we bring you a detailed conversation on what you need to know about your period. And later on Flip Side, we hear an advice to Music Awards organizers Chatterhouse from comedians Ruben and Langabel.
The two of them, I'll bank them 5 months, 5 months. No studio will play them on normal music. Then themselves, they can't make any show in Ghana 5 months. Then they will get a school to say they will learn something about it.
That's on later on Flip Side. Do join us with your thoughts and comments via WhatsApp on 0244 340 437. I am MFA Pau.
And my name is Evans Mensah. And Newsnight is always brought to you by Puma Card from Puma Energy, cash-free convenience.
And Parliament in November 2017 passed a bill establishing the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The bill, among others, in Section 13, added the holder of the office to persons mentioned in the 1992 Constitution barred from holding dual nationality upon assumption of office. There's, however, no mention of the special prosecutor in the constitutional provision, and this is being challenged in the Supreme Court by United States-based Ghanaian law lecturer Professor Kweku Sare. We'll get to speak to him shortly.
But even before the Apex Court will pronounce judgments, government is asking Parliament to expunge the special prosecutor in an amendment to the law before the House. Now, Deputy Attorney General Joseph Benka tells my colleague Elton Broby steps will be taken to safeguard the integrity of the office.
Constitution says in Article 1.2 that any law that is inconsistent with the Constitution is to the extent of the inconsistency and nullity. That's what the Constitution says. Therefore, if you find any legislation by Parliament which contravenes any provision of the Constitution, then to the extent of that contravention, that law is null and void. Now, in the Office of the Special Prosecutors Act, Parliament passed that law and indicated that a person cannot be or occupy the office of special prosecutor if the person holds dual nationality. And you know that holding dual nationality is permitted by our constitution, by Article 8, to the extent that you can hold citizenship of another country in addition to the citizenship of Ghana. Now, here is the conflict. In that provision in our constitution, it is very clear. If you look at that one, Article 8, and then you also go and look at 90 for the qualification of member of parliament and etc., you will find that there's a list. And if you hold dual citizenship, you cannot qualify to occupy such positions in Ghana, including member of parliament, member of the armed forces, quite a number of them. Very exhaustive list. And in the Office of the Special Prosecutors Act, at about, I think, Section 13 thereabout, we stated that a person who holds dual citizenship cannot hold the office of special prosecutor. Now, the argument has been made before the Supreme Court by one Asare, Professor Asare, a very famous and renowned professor, that when you have an exhaustive list in the Constitution, that does not give room for the person occupying the office of special prosecutor, and we have brought it there. It's inconsistent with the Constitution, and that is correct. And so this amendment is seeking to delete from the Act the qualification, including the fact that if you are a dual citizen, you cannot occupy that position, because that is not contemplated by the Constitution. So this amendment is seeking to constitutionalize that particular provision of the Office of Special Prosecutor Act, consistent with the Constitution, and ought to be expunged from the law.
So, in brief and to my understanding, meaning anybody who is appointed to occupy the office of a special prosecutor can hold allegiance to another country.
Now, what it means is that, strictly speaking, and by the construction, you are right, unless there is a specific amendment also to the Constitution to include that, so that if we have a renowned lawyer who is having all the qualifications stipulated in the Act and who holds an allegiance to another country could occupy the position, strictly speaking. And that is actually the essence which is leading us to expunge it. Other option was there for us to have amended the Constitution to include that. Yes, for now, you will be right to say so.
Because I'm looking at it this way, because I'm sure that the framers of the Constitution were quite clear that such individuals must have unquestionable loyalty to the country. Now, here is the case: we are appointing somebody to this high office, and yet we are saying that wouldn't this create an issue here?
No, the point even is that, you see, I don't know why we are raising it, because first of all, the president who is going to do the appointment and the attorney general will look at these factors. They will look at competent persons, and of course, they are going to pick persons who owe so much loyalty to our country first. That's going to be the fundamental thing you have raised. As I said, you have a good point. But the appointing authorities will also take all those things into consideration in doing the appointment. Remember that we are just not going to be saying that the person is qualified by virtue of the fact that he has served the number of years he's supposed to have served as a lawyer and etc. No, that's not the only thing. The consideration as to loyalty and etc. also be taken into consideration.
So you heard that Joseph Diemdiok Pemka. He's a Deputy Attorney General in that interaction with my colleague Elton Brobe. But let's speak to Professor Kweku Osare. He joins us all the way from United States of America. We are grateful for your time here on Newsnight, Professor Kweku Osare. Now, to the extent that you raised a number of concerns about this Office of the Special Prosecutor, including his age, and of course this issue about the dual nationality. Today, we have this latest move from government asking that part of you holding in a dual citizenship and being the special prosecutor should be amended, and that could pave way for anybody to be able to do so. What will be your reaction to that, concerning the fact that you are in court over this matter?
Thank you very much. I would say the government is late, but better late than never. However, I want to say that it is too little, because the offending sections are many, and what they have done is just touched on one of them, which is the Special Prosecutor Act. They should also go back and look at the Citizenship Act, Section 16.2. Citizenship Act, Section 16.2, which is very much like an Office of Special Prosecutor Act, also excludes dual citizens from holding several offices, including the office of being on the Supreme Court, being an ambassador or high commissioner, secretary to the cabinet, chief fire officer, and so on and so forth. That should also be expunged. And we have the Article 8.2, which is in the Constitution itself. I believe Article 8.2 in the Constitution itself should be repealed. And then finally, we have the mother of all problems, which is Article 94.2a. In my mind, Article 94.2a should also be repealed. So when we have done that, I have given them a bill which does all that. If they present that bill, then they would have solved the problem. But just isolating the problem in the Office of Special Prosecutor Act and closing your eyes to the problems in the Citizenship Act, that is not a way to solve a problem. That's just a way to confound the problem. It shows that we are not looking at the problem in a holistic manner. We are adopting piecemeal solutions, and that can only create more problems than we need. So my answer to your question is yes, it is good that the government is ultimately realizing that this is unconstitutional. But that's not the only unconstitutional problem we have. We have another act, the Citizenship Act, Section 16.2, also is unconstitutional. Then we go into the Constitution itself. We won't say that something in the Constitution is unconstitutional, but we would say that let us look at what is going on in the Constitution and see whether it makes sense within the context of what we are trying to do.
But let's do it as let's take it as one step after the other. But let's stay on this issue about the dual citizenship. Of course, you are a proponent of it, but there are a number of dangers that people are pointing to. Why would we want someone who holds a dual citizenship to hold a sensitive office such as a special prosecutor?
What is so sensitive about the special prosecutor? I mean, what's the problem if somebody has dual citizenship and is a special prosecutor? The first attorney general of this country, Geoffrey Bing, who set up the General Legal Council, was a Scottish. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, our first president, was a dual citizen. Every Ghanaian, when we acquired independence, was a dual citizen. The concept, a citizen of Ghana, did not come about until May 1957. I'll take that back. May 1959. Until then, everyone was a British subject. And then when in May 1959, we passed the Fair Citizenship Act, we all became Ghanaians and dual citizens at that point. So I'm not sure people think that if somebody is a dual citizen, then, oh my God, he can't occupy a sensitive position. There are many people who are dual citizens today who are holding sensitive positions, and nothing has occurred. I mean, President Rawlings, John Jerry Rawlings, is a dual citizen. He himself said that in a lawsuit filed by Bilton against him. Nothing happened when Rawlings was the president. We all owe multiple allegiances. There's nobody in the world who has a single allegiance. We have allegiance to our family, we have allegiance to our tribe, we have allegiance to our religion, and so on and so forth. So the question you are asking me would be like, oh my God, why should we appoint a Kwao man as the Eastern Regional or the Secretary or the Minister for Eastern Region when there is a conflict between the Kwaos and the Achims? He will be biased, so let's exclude him. No, we don't do things. We don't exclude people based on speculation. You are not going to hold somebody accountable merely because you are speculating. If we did that, we'll exclude everyone.
Let's bring in Honorable Yunusaf Hussaini into the discussion. He's a ranking member on the Legal and Constitutional Committee of Parliament. We're grateful for your time here on Newsnight as well. So today, Parliament resumes, and this is what you met. Government, asking that there should be an amendment to the Special Prosecutors Act, paving way for those with dual citizenship. Is that a good move?
Well, thank you so very much for this opportunity to talk to this issue. The issue was very hotly debated. Personally, I was of the view that holding allegiance to another country or being a citizen of another country and as well as being a Ghanaian should not disqualify a person from holding the position of special prosecutor. After all, what are we appointing a special prosecutor to do? To help us fight corruption. If a Ghanaian has acquired expertise, knowledge in how to track, arrest, prosecute persons who have misappropriated or in any way corrupted themselves while in public office, such a person should not be debarred from holding office of special prosecutor because it is the expertise that we require and not the person.
So if it's the expertise that we require and not the person, we might as well just get a foreigner to do it.
Well, if in some jurisdictions you get a foreigner to do it. After all, if the foreigner doesn't owe allegiance, is not related by blood to any person within the country and can go after anybody, no matter who's after God, I mean, that could be the case. But so for me, I had said that there are many Ghanaians in the diaspora who are lawyers, who have acquired expertise in their various chosen fields, and who can occupy the office and ensure that the legitimate interests and expectations of Ghanaians are realized while in office. And so the fact that they have acquired the citizenship of other countries or are permanently resident in those countries should not debar them from holding the position. I had argued that way, and if you go to look at the Hansard, but I was soundly and roundly defeated by people who had nationalistic views on only Ghanaians who hold allegiance to the country will find that position. I'm sure the government has to reconsider this position and has come to the conclusion that it makes sense to put persons who are qualified, not by reason of the fact that they are Ghanaians, exclusively, by reason of the fact that they have expertise in the chosen field to be able to help advance the interests of Ghana when it comes to the fight against corruption.
So today's move got us wondering as to why your committee, or this actually escaped your committee. Now you've explained that.
No, it never escaped our committee. We discussed it vigorously on the floor. And we were even surprised. Why would you have to wait until a matter is pending in court on this matter and bring the amendment? Are you seeking to arrest the decision of the court in this matter? And so, the only time that we have seen the government do this is during the time of Nkrumah, where a person was to be deported and then a bill was rushed through Parliament when that person went to court to challenge the deportation order, a bill was rushed to Parliament to have the order legitimized. And so for us, we have said that it is important to be open-minded in matters where you are seeking to secure the national interest.
Okay. So briefly, Honorable Minister Fuseni, how soon would this be passed, this amendment? When will it be passed?
Well, the bill has been laid. It has been referred to the committee. The committee will have to meet and do a report, and then the report will be taken, and the amendment will also be taken. The bill was not laid under speaker of urgency, and so I'm sure it has been gazetted, and then we can then deal with it when it comes to our committee.
We're grateful for your time. Minister Fuseni is ranking member on the Legal and Constitutional Committee of Parliament. I still have Professor Kweku Sare on the phone with me. Briefly, Professor Kweku Sare, so then what happens to your case at the Supreme Court? Are you withdrawing it? What happens to it?
Well, I don't have a pending case at the Supreme Court. We went to the Supreme Court on a tangential issue, but it's good that we are debating this because people should remember that when we talk about allegiance, it's not the same thing as citizenship. So if you go back to the Constitution, the 1992 Constitution, originally it did not even allow dual citizenship. Dual citizenship was allowed only after we pressured President Rawlings to have an amendment in 1996. However, the allegiance clause was in the 1992 Constitution. So it's not reasonable to say we have an allegiance clause that means dual citizenship.
Professor Kweku Sare, it looks like we've had to truncate that. We apologize for that. Professor Kweku Sare was making that point on the Citizenship Act also being amended, and we'll definitely continue that discussion somewhere else. But we still stay in Parliament because government again laid a bill seeking to amend Article 55 Clause 3 to pave the way for the election of metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives.
Well, the development, a key campaign promise of the President Akufo-Addo, will however be subjected to a referendum before the proposed amendment can be effected. Here's the Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quay.
Honourable members, the Constitution Amendment Bill 2018 is accordingly read the first time. Honourable members, in accordance with Article 2904 of the Constitution, Parliament shall not proceed further with the bill unless it has been submitted for a referendum and at least 40% of persons entitled to vote have voted at the referendum, and at least 75% of the persons who voted cast their vote in favor of the passing of the bill.
But Deputy Attorney General Joseph Pemka, in an interview with my colleague Elton Brobe, once again says the outcome of the referendum will determine the next move.
As a result of the outcry all over the world and here in Ghana by civil society organizations and other well-meaning citizens, that we try to put in our law an amendment that will allow for us to elect the chief executives to make them accountable directly to the people. His Excellency the President, who led the campaign to become president in 2016, campaigned on the backdrop that when elected, he will ensure that he brings to Parliament a bill which will actually amend the said article to allow for us to elect the chief executive by universal adult suffrage. That is actually what we've also laid today. That is an amendment to Article 2431 to allow of the Constitution to allow for the election of MMDCs.
As you look at this, we'll tell you that this is an entrenched clause. So what is the process?
Now, it's been laid. So it will go through the process. It will go to it's been referred to the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee. After all that, what's going to happen is that there is going to be a referendum. And the referendum will be decided by Ghanaians. And it's going to be very interesting because, you see, this particular one is not necessarily entrenched. But subsequent ones, which I will adumbrate, will indicate very clearly that you need to amend the entrenched ones, the entrenched part. The first part of it is not entrenched. So Parliament will do the amendment. But the entrenched provision will then be submitted to the people of Ghana, through the Electoral Commission to determine whether or not they agree. And it's going to be very interesting again because after Parliament has amended the law to say that, look, the district chief executives will be elected by universal adult suffrage, etc. We go for referendum and it doesn't work out. It will mean that we have to come back and then again amend the law. You understand? Because Parliament will have to first amend it. And then we then go for the entrenched amendment by way of a referendum. And if the second leg fails, the first leg cannot stand. So we have to come back again. That's the interesting twist about it. But we are hoping that the cry is loud and Ghanaians will embrace it and endorse the proposal so that we have an amendment to allow for election of MMDCs.
That is the Deputy Attorney General Ekpenka Diop there. I want to quickly now take you to the Pejase Valley Resort, where political parties, the NDC and the NPP, and civil society groups mediated by the National Peace Council, they've been meeting since yesterday as part of talks to disband political party militias. Well, the meeting, we understand the two-day meeting has just ended. My colleague Parker Wilson has been there since yesterday and is on the line with us live now. Parker, what is the outcome?
Yeah. Right, so let me read verbatim what the political parties agreed on together with the National Peace Council. Now it says that the National Peace Council, with the support of technical experts and with input from the two political parties, represent a working document on a roadmap for the consideration of the parties, taking into account the report submitted by the various stakeholders at the Just Dialogue on the eradication of politically related violence. This will be done within a period of 4 weeks. 2, the draft code of conduct designed by the National Peace Council will be considered as one of the deliverables in the presentation of the roadmap and is signed by the chairman of the NDC and that of the NPP as well, including the National Peace Council. So these are the agreement between the two political parties, and we do understand that the technical team, the National Peace Council, will be selecting these individuals to ensure that they quickly start work immediately to get the roadmap implemented.
Parker, just for clarity, so the parties have agreed that they will bring select individuals together to draw up a roadmap.
Exactly the point. And this roadmap, and Ivan, let me give you just a quick background. The stakeholders that the NDC proposed, and of course they joined this meeting yesterday and today, according to the National Peace Council, they presented what they call quite interesting research on activities on vigilantism. And for them, the parties, they believe that those will go a long way to help deal with the problem. And so the technical experts will, of course, consolidate all the presentation put together by the stakeholders on the activities of vigilantism, and within 4 weeks they need to come out with a roadmap so that they can implement it. And again, there's going to be a monitoring system to ensure that all the recommendations from the technical aspect is indeed being implemented. Now, let me say that I have with me the national chairman of the opposition NDC, Honorable Samuel Ofosampofo, with me here. And let me...
We seem to have lost him on the telephone line. We'll get back to him and get the thoughts of some of the participants in this meeting. And as you've just been hearing, this meeting has been going on since yesterday. And as you just heard, the agreement is that they're going to form a technical committee. They have 4 weeks, and within the 4 weeks, that technical committee will have to draw up a roadmap, and that roadmap will then be signed on to by the political parties if they agree to the terms of that roadmap, and that then will be monitored and implemented towards disbanding the various political party vigilante groups. So some real significant progress there. I'm delighted to say that we've just been joined by the national chairman of the NDC, Mr. Samuel Ofosampofo. Mr. Ofosampofo, thank you for your time here on Newsnight.
Thank you very much, and good evening to your listeners.
Happy with the outcome of the 2-day meeting?
Well, I am satisfied because it has been very intensive, very involving, very inclusive, and we are happy that, as indicated by us at the last meeting, we said that the issue of vigilantism cut across and is not limited to the two political parties, and for that matter, in discussing and finding a lasting solution, we should do the multi-stakeholder engagement and bring other key stakeholders together. Thankfully, not between yesterday and today, we have had a number of presentations by some of the major key stakeholders like CBD, the Kofi Annan Peacekeeping Center, the IDEC, representing the civil society organizations, representative of the National Chief Imam, and then the Catholic Secretariat, among others. And I believe that their presentations have gone a long way. And of course, the Ghana Police Service, which was represented by the Deputy IGP. And so this multi-stakeholder involvement has enriched and enhanced our discussion. And I believe that the agreement that we should develop a roadmap and get support from these technical experts together with the political parties and others will go a long way to craft a roadmap that will be practicable, that will be implementable, and that will be workable in order to find a lasting solution to this menace of vigilantism in our body politics.
A source whispered to us that this particular proposal, in large part, was pushed through by the NDC. Is that accurate?
Well, I think that has been our position, and eventually, I think there was a consensus on the matter. So let me say that we tried to build consensus, even though there were some difficulties. But at the end of the day, it is the end that justifies the means. And so we have all shown commitment, and we believe that we have made some other demands, and we are saying that His Excellency the President, as a matter of urgency, should release the report of the Missions Commission, because we believe that the recommendation of that report could also enhance our discussion and our preparation towards the roadmap towards eventual eradication of the menace of vigilantism. And we believe that the President will heed to our call, because it is important that all factors are put together in order to get a very positive outcome of this process.
Just a quick clarity on the end game. So once this roadmap is developed within 4 weeks, what happens after that?
The political parties will then meet, and then we will take steps as to how to implement the roadmap, because implementation is very key. If you put in all this effort and the commitment for implementation is not there, then we are back to square one. So what we need, and we have committed ourselves that we want to be part of the process from the beginning to the end, and we want to commit ourselves to implementing it to the letter, so that all of us Ghanaians will benefit from the outcome of the exercise.
I'm grateful that you joined us. Samuel Fosuampof was the national chairman of the NDC. This, remember, is part of our campaign. We've been doing this with you for months now, and clearly there's progress being made to disbanding party militias. We choose to call it party militias because we believe that's what it is, and the parties themselves. And as you watched this unfold, especially last week, many of the civil society groups who participated agreed that it's an important issue that must be dealt with, and some real progress is now being made with this agreement now by all parties that a roadmap should be drafted within 4 weeks. You're close to the finish line. We're not there yet, and that's why you still need to join the hashtag disband party militias now.
We want you to know that if you don't disband private criminal militia groups, we will not vote for you because we are scared.
The time has come for us as a political class to say that this development is not good for the future of this country.
The NPP has been guilty, the NDC has been guilty in terms of these groups. And so both the NDC and the NPP will have to find a way of engaging the base of our parties.
The NCC will continue to condemn, name and shame all political parties who endorse, support and or identify themselves with any of these groups until these groups are disbanded, word and indeed.
If voluntary disbandment by the parties is not feasible, then I will initiate legislation in the matter.
Joy News, God bless you. If you were not there, Nana Akufo-Addo today will not be making noise about how to disband vigilante groups. We salute you, Joy.
We know them, the individuals in party militias. We know those who fund them. Let's use this to put pressure on the politicians to disband party militias now.
They remain a major threat to our democracy as a nation. Hashtag disband party militias now.
You don't need macho men to be able to help you win elections. Hashtag disband party militias now.
Disband party militias now.
Join the campaign. Hashtag disband party militias now.
Hashtag disband party militias now.
Disband party militias now.
Superior services, your success our portion. Trusted, innovative financial services, providing affiliation, support and solutions. Customer-oriented, superior services, your success our portion. 10 good years of loyalty, service with integrity, protective of our guardian brand. 10 years of excellence, 10 years of loyalty. Your success our passion, oh yeah. Your success our passion.
Your success, our passion.
Thank you, folks. On my A-list today, show some love for contractor EB. So, contractor, what do you think about the country's changing skyline?
Oh, send them down there, Shayuma. Across skyline, they change you, papa.
Wow. Contractor, don't you get worried when you hear of buildings collapsing?
I'm not for an one on Tassam. It is the likability of using low-quality product.
Please explain why.
Yeah, cement is no quality on your gasem. Village of Fefu. It was built with gasem. Says the gasem is your construction. Osi ho pumping. N1 Kejete Market, Kotokana Kumasi Airport, Cape Coast Stadium, Atrabu Gas Project in Gasebo. Messi what the quality. You know what is the quality?
Gasem, 3 cement grades, greater value. Gasem, the nation builder.
What can 20 Ghana cedis buy you?
Airtime.
Taxi
ultra trophy.
Hot and Domino.
Oh, ice cream dripping down your hands on a hot sunny afternoon.
You think it, and that's exactly what we'll give you when you buy the Roverman Productions Early Bird ticket. From the stables of Unclipper White comes the play I Want Your Wife. From now till 16th June, you can buy early bird tickets at 60 Ghana cedis, saving you a whopping 20 Ghana cedis for that kinky or ice cream. And tickets are available at JoyFM, selected Shell shops, and our regular outlet. WhatsApp us on 050-554-6030 for delivery. This production is sponsored by Bond Savings and Loans, Old Mutual Life Assurance Company Limited, and Crush Fruit Juice.
Note: early bird tickets are valid for 5th and 7th July.
Media partners: Joy FM, Hits FM, Joy News, Joy Prime, and Adum TV. Buy your tickets now.
Join us at the UPSA Hostel Forecourt in the morning Saturday, 1st June 2019. Let's enjoy dairy goodness together. Don't forget, no breakfast without Dino Milk. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Dino Milk GH for more details. See you on World Milk Day. Enjoy your Dino Milk and be strong.
The new Ghana card is more than just a way to identify yourself. It opens you up to a world of benefits.
The sooner you register for your Ghana card, the closer you are to accessing a new world of secure transactions and services. The requirements to register are as follows:
a genuine birth certificate or a valid Ghanaian passport and personal information such as the name of your parents or legal guardians, residential address, and your digital address code.
If you don't have a birth certificate or a valid Ghanaian passport, don't worry. One relative or two members of the community who have been registered and have received their Ghana card can vouch for you under oath. You will, however, need your digital address code. You will not be allowed to register without it.
Any person who provides false information during this process is liable to prosecution, leading to the payment of a fine and/or serving a jail term.
Watch out for registration details to the media and the national identification team in your community. Make sure you register for your Ghana card.
Ghana card, connectivity, access, and progress.
It's time to experience something different, unexpected, and definitely beyond banking. It's a new era at GCB Bank, Ghana's most welcoming bank, where we offer you a world of financial security, flexibility, and convenience. We swiftly serve you with over 180 branches and 300 ATMs, and provide e-banking solutions that make it possible for you to bank anywhere, anytime. When you need a personal loan, sooner is better than later, so we give it to you in 24 hours to make sure the experience is always memorable. At GCB, your opportunities are limitless and we keep you smiling at all times. We're bigger and better, ready to take you beyond banking. GCB Bank, your bank for life.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Now, time now for business, and coming up, transactions on mobile money interoperability hits 95 million Ghana cedis for the first quarter of this year. And we will explore impact of the rising debt stock on the economy and businesses as we tell you how much everyone owes in the country. The business news on Newsnights is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all your office essentials. And First National Bank, we are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank, how can we help you? Let's now settle for the details. Now, the total value of transactions done on the mobile number interoperability reached 95 million Ghana cedis for the first quarter of this year. Now, this was contained in statistics covering electronic payments from January to March this year. Details in this report.
The 95 million cedis was realized from a total of 1.1 billion transactions that was done on this platform from January to March this year. Introduced in May last year, the mobile money interoperability allows subscribers to undertake mobile money transactions across the various networks with a little charged. The data showed that most transactions were done on the wallets of mobile money subscribers in terms of moving the funds across different networks. It was followed by wallets to accounts. The data also revealed that value of transactions done on the eSwitch platform for the first quarter was 1.2 billion cedis, while the number of cards issued ending in March this year was 2.8 million cedis.
And that was a Business Desk report, and the data has also shown that over 66 billion Ghana cedis of funds were moved on the mobile money platform, that is for the first quarter of this year. So what is driving the growth of this? Well, I tried to get some answers from Seto Amedeku, his head of payments at the Bank of Ghana.
There's a lot of money which were formally being given to people to transmit informally and are now going through mobile money. So you will see that a lot of transfers are moving, especially person to person, to our rural communities. Even within Accra here, you are in Dasuma, I'm in Ajirigano. Instead of you driving from Dasuma to go and give money to somebody in Ajirigano, you don't need to drive. You just take your mobile money, or even if you don't have money on the account, you go to the next agent near you, transfer the money. So it has made life very convenient for our people.
Dr. Seto Amedeku is head of payments at the Bank of Ghana. The Bank of Ghana is projecting that by 2024, majority of transactions in the country should be done without fiscal cash. The country's rising debt stock could have some serious implications on the economy. The debt stock has reached to 198 billion Ghana cedis ending March this year, and it would mean that out of this, our interest payments should be going up. It could also mean that majority of government's revenue will go to servicing these debts. Now, more than half of these debts are in dollars, and that could also have some serious implications on the Ghana cedis. For businesses, government being classified as high risk of debt distress could also impact on their cost of borrowing. Now, the total debt stock ending March this year is around 198 billion Ghana cedis. So if this debt is shared among the entire population, now everybody should be owing about 6,600 Ghana cedis. Cocoa Board is working to issue some 20-year $2 billion bond in the coming months. Now, speaking to Joy Business Chief Executive or Deputy Chief Executive in charge of Finance and Administration, Ray Ankra, said this move should help the institution to be highly competitive and deal with some of its debts internally.
Trying to come up with some sort of a long-term bond over 20 years, possibly 15 to 20 years, that will enable us to take care of some of the legacy issues that we have inherited. Once you do that, you're able to reduce the financing costs, because some of these, cocoa bills or legacy debts that we have inherited, there is quite a lot of interest in this area. People are engaging with us to see how best we can structure something that will ensure that we borrow some money from the international market, take care of some of our local cocoa bills, which is at very high interest rates.
Deputy Chief Executive at Cocoa Board in charge of Finance and Administration, Ray Ankra. Now, government is being urged to consider implementing strict laws as well as enforcement to check corruption in the country. Speaking to Joy Business at the Stakeholder Forum on Anti-Corruption, managing partner of consultancy firm that is Anderson and Sloan, Vicky Bright, said the country needs to do more to show that they are committed to fighting corruption.
We need to have a comprehensive piece of legislation dealing with bribery and corruption. Currently, the main legislation itself does not even define bribery. Bribery is defined elsewhere in another piece of legislation. So we need to have that so that if you look at the actual crime, you have one place that you can go to actually address all these issues. And
Managing partner of consultancy firm Anderson Bright Snow, that is Vicky Bright speaking there. Now, about 70% of drugs used in the country are imported, with some believed to be smuggled in as so. Now, this has raised concerns about whether we are putting in place the right structures to scrutinize all these drugs. Now, speaking to Joy Business on this matter, Chief Executive of pharmaceutical company Pharma Trust, Anthony Ajapon, is asking that people only patronize drugs that are approved by the Food and Drugs Board.
I think Ghana has one of the best regulatory bodies, that's the Food and Drugs Authority. And I think most of the products on the market are registered. If you have any product that you think is not registered, I think you can consult the FDA on the status of the products. And also at times, we also advise the ordinary person that buy products from a registered pharmacy, because that is where you can actually ensure that you are getting the best of product.
And that is Anthony Japoni spoke to Joy Business ahead of our Joy Business Health and Wellness Trade Show slated for 30th of May to the 1st of June. And also let's forget about the Ghana Manufacturers Business Summit 2019, which is themed on achieving growth around. That is the role of government is tomorrow. That is Wednesday, May 29th at 8 a.m. Now venues at the La Palm Beach Hotel and is organized by the Business Executive Limited. Now some of the keynote speakers at this program will be the Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Robert Kalinsi, and is chaired by Nana Osebun, who is Chief Executive of the Private Enterprise Federation. So make a date for these two critical events, our Health and Wellness Trade Show on May 30 and there's Manufacturers Awards as well.
Game over. Oh no, I lost again. Mommy, can you please buy me some coins for my game from Play Store? Please?
Kojo, how? I don't even have a debit card.
Hey Mommy, don't you know you don't need a debit card to buy on Play Store. You can pay with MTN Momo.
Can I?
Yes.
Hey Kojo, how do you know?
Mommy, everybody's talking about it at school.
Really?
You can now use MTN Momo to buy your favorite apps and games on Play Store. First, choose the app or game you want and select the MTN Momo option to pay. It's that simple.
Yes, I did it. Mommy, I won.
We day for you everywhere you go.
We give you nothing but the best. We stay above the rest. More quality, more affordability. Kingdom Books and Stationery. Everybody's going to the one and only shop where customer satisfaction is a guarantee. Kingdom Books and Stationery.
Oh yes, with our 30 days credit facility with no interest charge, free delivery services, and our free consultation on setting up your office, Kingdom Books and Stationery is unmatched in our delivery of quality and affordable office essentials, equipment, and furniture.
Experience world-class customer service in all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Cape Coast, and Takoradi.
Call us on 0302-764-101
or visit our website at www.kingdomgh.com.
Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all office essentials and stationery. Terms and conditions apply.
Mr. Barr has big dreams for his business, Barr & Co. Limited, and his family, making them a reality man to long drives and queues. He's lost precious time struggling to pay his suppliers in China, Turkey, India, and other parts of the world. With the First National Bank global payment via our online banking enterprise, he now pays for all that in the convenience of his home or office, giving him time to focus on family and growing his business. Use our online banking enterprise to access Forex when you need it. It takes a bank that does more to help your family. So who's helping yours? First National Bank. How can we help you?
Honey, I need to get some.
But I don't have cash on me. Let me get some fuel quickly and let's go.
And how are you going to get the fuel? I thought you said you didn't have cash on you. What is this one?
My Puma card.
All it takes is a card. The Puma card allows you to buy fuel cash-free from all Puma energy filling stations. You can use your Puma card with any Visa points of sale and ATM across the country. The Puma card also works on mobile money. You get amazing discounts when you fill up with your Puma card. So register for free and get your Puma card instantly at any Puma filling station.
And you only got one for yourself, eh?
Yeah, would I have had my peace of mind?
Oh, thank you, honey.
And where are you going?
I'm getting something from the shop real quick. I need to test the card.
Puma card. Cash-free convenience.
Imagine living in a world of comfort and luxury. In a well-planned and gated community with access to an ultra-modern sports complex which has Olympic-sized swimming pools, football, basketball, athletics, and gym facilities. I'm talking about Eden Heights, the new destination for luxury in Ghana. Eden Heights is developed with the highest grade of finishing in our penthouses in our 1 to 4 bedroom apartments and is located close to the beach resorts along the Atlantic Ocean, about 30 minutes drive from the airport and 5 minutes walk from the West Hills Mall. Eden Heights is the ideal location for luxury. Visit us at edenheights.com.gh or email to sales@edenheights.com.gh or call us on 050-153-1444 or 050-153-1445 for more information. Eden Heights, Welcome home.
Madam Atreba, the recent test shows your cholesterol level has normalized. You've stopped eating those fatty foods, eh?
Doc, in Chichirina. Oh, I've reduced it significantly.
That's very good.
Mara made change in my diet input. I now eat beans, garden eggs, okra, and the likes.
Really nice.
And when I cook with oil, I add required amounts of Frital vegetable oil to taste. It's a cholesterol-free oil and fortified with vitamin A.
Well done, Madam Atreba.
She, Mara Mabino, Mabin Dread. Enjoy great tasting meals with Frital, your cholesterol-free cooking oil fortified with vitamin A. Frital, love your food, love your life. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Joy 99.7 FM.
You're so live on News Night. It's on Joy 99.7 FM, and we can do some sports now. And Mensa Ando is here with the very latest. Hello, Hans.
Hello, everyone. There's good news because Asamoah Gyan and head coach Kwesi Appiah have held talks after recent tensions related to the Black Stars. Captain Gyan rescinded an earlier decision to recuse himself from the upcoming African Cup of Nations and retire permanently from the Black Stars after an intervention by the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. The spokesperson for the ex-Black Stars skipper, Kweku Obin, says the meeting was fruitful and Gyan has accepted the role of general captain.
At 1 p.m., Team Baby Jet met with Team Kwesi Appiah. You know what had happened earlier or later part of last week regarding the recusal and retirement, the skipper of the Black Stars, and eventually getting to the presidency, where we had to come back again to rescind our decision. So today I can confirm that Asamoah Gyan team and the head coach of the Black Stars team met at the Holiday Inn Hotel. We had a very fruitful discussion. In fact, the objective was to bring together back again the former captain of the Black Stars and the head coach of the senior national team, James Kwesi Appiah. That was our objective. I can confidently assure Ghanaians that it was fruitful, it was better. In fact, the atmosphere was so charged, it was fun, it was jollity, and very, very emotional. I mean, if you could go into details, the content and the discussions we had, looks as if nothing had even happened. So I can confidently assure Ghanaians that going forward from today, I don't think there will be any bad blood, any cold blood between the head coach and the former captain of the Indian national team, the Black Stars. He is going as a player, and in any other role or capacity the coach deems it fit for him, he is ready. And today, he made it clear to the coach that he is ready to obey the rules and regulations in camp, and of course, any other role, leadership, wise given to him, he would adhere to and do his best to help Mother Ghana win the ultimate.
That is to say that he's accepted the role of general captain.
Of course, of course.
So no problems between Gyan and coach Kwesi Appiah. The problem solved. Full speed ahead. Egypt 2019. That's your sports.
Hans, thank you very much. Now, as Ghana joins the rest of the world to mark Menstrual Hygiene Day, there are calls for government to consider implementing a free sanitary towel supply policy to young girls in schools across the country. And this is the day that MFA you've been marking, today, especially because you have you have one daughter.
A daughter and a son, 11-year-old and 6-year-old.
And today will be, I'm sure she takes it for granted that the menstrual pad she uses. But for
not yet, she hasn't started yet. I await it patiently.
Okay, I see. Because there are numerous reports about girls missing school on days they have their period. The reason is simple. They cannot afford the pads, and it costs as low as 5 cedis, understand. And yet people can afford it, and so they miss school. We want to have an interesting conversation on this. And remember, the theme for this year's celebration is it's time for action. Just been joined in the studio by the U-Report ambassador, Abigail Tay. Organization is into adolescent reproductive health. This problem with young girls not going to school because they can't afford pad. Is it something that you yourself had encountered growing up?
Yes, I did. And even sometimes I had to use rag.
You had to use rag?
Yes, because there wasn't money to be able to buy a sanitary pad. Yes, so it's very real. The situation is very real. Sometimes, in Accra, we find a lot of girls buying the sanitary pads in parks, but in some communities, you even have them buying single parts. So it tells you that there isn't enough money to be able to buy the whole pack, and so they have to go in for the single parts. And hygienically, you can, if a girl is supposed to be menstruating for 5 days, and it's the ideal thing is to be able to change at least 2 times a day. Then if she's buying every single pad, then you can tell how much you'll be able to buy to be able to meet the hygienic standard of changing at least 2 times a day. So it's a real
the rag
issue.
you use, you wash it and use it again?
Yes, you will wash it, but there is a huge concern with the kind of rag that is used, and then how well it has been washed. In the rural areas we have a great issue with water, access to water. Yeah. So girls getting water to be able to wash, this is also under, and there is a huge stigma also in shyness. We are planning, some colleagues and I are planning to share, or we went to a community wanting to help the girls with pads, and we're told that from what has happened in the past, some people came to give these girls reusable pads, which are supposed to be washed. Okay. But what happened was that these girls feel so shy washing the pads and drying them outside.
Yeah, because this is soaked with blood. Yes. I mean, people see you washing it and hanging it, you know, that is...
You can wash it in the bathroom. You don't have to wash it outside.
Well, have you used a rag before?
Yes, I have.
You use a rag?
I stayed with a number of stepmothers, so I had to get a cloth, a dress, because I didn't know how to ask them for a pad. So I'll use a dress, cut it up, use it, throw it away, and then use a dress till I'm done. At least I was
a dress?
Yes, an old dress. I just picked
so
it up.
So you just keep cutting it?
Yes.
Well,
so
you did that every month?
Relate. Yes.
For how long?
Till my father realized that I wasn't being provided a pad. Yeah. So it's very real. Yeah. And I was living in a mansion, so you can imagine.
If you were living in a mansion and you were still using the rag, cutting clothes every month, then what about the girls in the village? Exactly. So what's the solution to this, very briefly?
So yesterday there was a Twitter debate on cutting or removing the 20% tax on pads.
So that will reduce the price.
Yes, and I think it's a good call. And if we have to go in the direction of using reusable pads, then a lot of education has to go into how well we as girls can be able to use this well, so that hygienically it doesn't pose challenges to us.
So it's not just about having it, but also using it hygienically. Yes. Okay, thank you very much for that. NMFR, you've been very honest about this. I never knew something about you now that I know. You're a hustler after all. I've always seen you as a very spoiled.
You had other questions about menstruation. Unfortunately,
I'm so embarrassed I can't ask those questions, and so you want me to ask you?
No, don't.
Okay.
We're out of time.
You asked that I asked the question.
No, we're out
I wanted to ask of you.
That word.
It's okay. So listen to News Night, and that's it for News Night tonight. And we'll leave you with Ruben and Langabell. What are they talking about this time?
Advice for Charterhouse. Following that fracas 2 weeks ago.
Okay. By the way, that's it for News Night. My name is Evans Mensah.
I am Mmefapo.
We are joking for ourselves. Just we want to make everybody be happy. Well, it doesn't mean that a policeman